homemakers. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I make garlic powder from wild garlic around my yard. Before I go any further, I do want to say that there are toxic, poisonous lookalikes when it comes to wild garlic and wild onion, and it is extremely important to be aware of these when you're out foraging and collecting plants to eat. There are several great resources online to help you identify what is edible and what is not, and I highly suggest looking at those before you eat any type of plant that you've collected from the wild. The first thing we need to do is collect wild garlic. Wild garlic has a few other names. I know it's called crow garlic, and where I grew up it's referred to as onion grass. And that's because when you cut it, when you're out mowing your grass, you will have a very strong smell of onion. And that is one surefire way to tell that you have wild garlic. If you crush or cut the green, it should smell strongly of onion or maybe garlic. I think it smells more like onion. They're pretty easy to identify. They're tall and skinny. They usually grow a lot faster than the surrounding grass and plants. And they've got kind of a bluish green hue to them. Another quick note, you do want to be careful if you're collecting these from areas like beside the highway, because there is often lots of pollutants from the cars, and then also pesticides are usually sprayed along roads and highways quite regularly. And once you collect all you want, what I do is I lay them out in the sun for about 20-30 minutes just to let all the ants, worms, any kind of creepy crawlies crawl away. And it also dries up the dirt a little bit to help it shake off easier. So I just shake off as much dirt as I can before I take them in the house. And then I put them in a bowl in my sink with some lukewarm water and just let them sit for about another 20 minutes. And that helps loosen up and wash away most of the dirt. And you'll see that it doesn't clean them completely, but that's okay. You don't need to wash them anymore at this point because we are going to cut them up and remove a lot of the dirtiest pieces. Now when it comes to wild garlic, the whole plant is edible. You could eat the whole entire thing, including the roots. But I choose to cut them off. And you'll notice that wild garlic does not look like the traditional garlic that you buy in the grocery store. They do not have any cloves on them. They're one large bulb, and then you'll have these little bulblets, these little baby bulbs that grow. And these are edible too. I just set them to the side and put them in the dehydrator with everything else. And then there's usually a bottom layer. Usually starts at like the bottom leaf. It has a brownish kind of white tint to it. You can kind of tell. And I just pull that off. And you can see it looks a lot cleaner already. And then I cut mine right where the color starts changing from the white to the green. I cut it there. And then I'm going to set the green to the side, and I'll cut all them up together at the end. I just cut it to where it'll fit better in my dehydrator. If I notice any brown spots on the green, I'll snip them off as I go. And then you just go through the whole bunch like that, snipping off the roots, pulling off that bottom layer, and then cutting them up. gonna give it another quick wash. But you can see how much cleaner they look already. And we didn't have to do a whole bunch of scrubbing. So once they're washed and patted dry, we're gonna put them in our dehydrator. Now I lay them in mine, I let them touch, but I don't overlap them. And I start with the bulbs first in that lower part of the stem where it is white, because those are thicker and they will take longer. So I put them on, I'm putting them on tonight before I go to bed. And in the morning, about 12 hours later, I'll check them. I set my dehydrator to 135 degrees. And I'll just warn you that this is a long process. It takes a long time. I think these took 30 hours to dry. So here they are the next morning. You can see that they are starting to dry, but they're not completely dry yet. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the greens, and I'm going to do them the same way. I'm just going to try to lay them out in a single layer. And then also some of the bigger bulbs I am going to cut in half so they'll dry faster. And then I am going to check them again in about another 12 hours or so and see how they are looking. Once it's dry, I put it in my coffee grinder and just pulse it down to a nice fine powder. One tip, if you find that something wasn't completely dry and it was a little bit moist and it's made everything a big gummy mess, I just go ahead and grind it as much as I can. Then I take a piece of parchment paper and put it on a baking sheet and spread everything out on it as thin as I can and put it in a low temperature oven, about 170 degrees, for about 15-20 minutes. It doesn't take it too long, it'll dry up. I'll run it back through the coffee grinder one more time to grind it down as fine as I can. And then you just want to store it in an airtight container. It will last several months. We go through a lot of garlic powder, so this will last maybe 2 or 3 months for us. But I use it just like I do the store-bought garlic powder when I'm cooking. It adds great flavor. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you all so much. And I will see you all next time.